Okay, welcome to Swell Academy. We're talking about transformations, rules, basics, taking a look at some graphs, look at some different scenarios here. We're going to kick it off by talking about some of the shifts. If you have shifts inside the parentheses plus or minus, and you're adding to your input of your function, then you're going to have a shift left or right. Now, if it's plus 7, it's actually I don't want to say counterintuitive. It's a bit of an inverse. It's actually, even though it says plus 7, we're going to be moving to a left on a graph. And if you think about it, in order for me to get to 0, when I add 7, I actually need to start with a -7. So that's kind of where that idea of the movement to the left. And so a -7 would be a movement to a right. And you could go ahead and put yourself, and we'll see just what this looks like on a graph. Now, if you're adding to the function outside of your input, meaning you're going to get an output and you're going to add 7 to it after you put in your x, this is our shift. If you're adding and subtracting a number outside, this is a shift up or down. So for here, we have an upshift, and here we have a downshift. Some simple rules. This is kind of the easier of the transformations, just left, right, up, or down. Continue on. Here you also may have a situation where you actually have both. Now we know the plus, that's actually a left shift. So we have a left 1, and we have an up 5. So I wanted to show you an example where you actually have both, where we have here a right 5 and a down 5. Just an example where maybe you see both and you're like, well, what does it mean if we have both? It means just we're looking inside and outside the parentheses. Here I have some graphs where we can bring some of this to light, looking at some movement inside. So we have a minus inside our parentheses here, and we see from the red, which is our original parent function, we have a shift of +2. And from the green, you see this +2 here. That's actually, that +2 is a shift of left to the 2, and you can see that here. Also, when we move left here, our green line was a shift of 2 to the left. Now, I had to bring out an absolute value as a parent function here for us to look at some of the shift up or down, because if I use the previous parent function, it tends to look the same. So here we see a +4 added to our parent function, and you see that shift up of 4 here on our graph. And then same thing, we have the -4 outside. So sometimes you see this function like this, but it could look like this. Even if you had something maybe like this and you added to the outside of it, that would be a shift. So here, again, we have this shift down of -4. So just a visual of that shift up or right, or left or right, up or down. Continuing on, we're going to just take a quick look. Now I'll go in more detail on this when we talk about reflections. I have a separate video because there's a lot that goes into it. But simply, if you have a function, let's say of 3x plus 2, and you want to reflect it along the x-axis, you're going to take the inverse of the x inside your parentheses. So basically, you're going to invert your x, not the entire function. So it ends up being, or looking like this. You end up with a -3x plus 2. Notice well, let's compare afterwards. Now, if you want a reflection along your x-axis, and we'll go, again, more detail on this in the other video that's specifically about reflections. Here, you're going to take your function and you're going to take the inverse of the entire function, not just of your, let's say, your input. And this would result in a -3x. You're distributing the negative -2. And the difference is in the +2 and the -2 when you're talking about reflections. That's just a quick basic example to give you some idea of rules. This tends to get a little bit more intricate when you add absolute value functions and quadratics and whatnot. Continuing on, There is this idea of stretching and shrinking, both vertical and horizontal, and pay attention to where the change, or where the coefficient is that's having an effect on the graph. Here you see the coefficient is having an effect on the entire function, where here you see the coefficient is having an effect on the input. It's having an effect on the x, not your entire function. So some examples, let's just say, and the absolute value is there for a reason, because it's just talking about the number itself. So if you're looking at an example of a stretch, or a vertical stretch, let's say, you're looking at that number outside the function. So let's say I had a 3 of f of x, which would maybe look like 3 of x squared. Maybe it looks like that. And then same thing, it could be a negative. It could be a negative, and it still would be a stretch, a vertical stretch. And that is the reason they give us that absolute value, because you're just looking, is that number, the absolute value of that number, greater than 1? And if it is greater than 1, it's a stretch. And then conversely, if it's a number that we want to shrink vertically, we would basically put a number between 0 and 1, maybe a 1/3, and apply that to our function. Or again, I'm showing the negative and positive to show that we're not looking at the sign, we're looking at the number itself. Maybe this would be like a 1/3 outside the parentheses of an x squared, or a negative 1/3 outside the parentheses. This would be a vertical shrink. Now when we move to horizontal, we could use all the same numbers. But the placement of that number is going to change. So it would be f of 3 of x, f of negative 3 of x, f of 1/3 of x. So now we're applying a coefficient to our input of our function, not so much to the entire function. And this number b, negative or positive, if it is a number that has an absolute value greater than 1, this would be a shrink. For these two, doesn't matter positive, negative, all that matters is that number, or absolute value of that number, greater than 1. And here would be an example of your horizontal stretch. And I pulled up a graph for you guys to look at this visually, as far as what is a stretch and a shrink horizontally, vertically going to look like. So here we have the application of a coefficient inside the parentheses, and we have that horizontal idea of a horizontal. In this case, you see we're going off our parent function. We'll do this in green. You have a horizontal stretch, where in the one where we have the 3, or the number greater than 1, inside the parentheses, we actually have our shrink here to the green. And this is some of our horizontal shrinking and stretching. Shrinking could also be called a compression, if you see that. Now, I kind of use the same function. I put the 2 on the inside just to show a little bit something different. And here you have the number greater than 1. I actually made it negative. So you can see, let's say we're to flip it back in green. Let's say we're to flip it back here without the negative. Basically the negative is reflecting this. We talked about that in an earlier slide. But you see that 3 is, let's say, stretching. It's stretching this, making it go further up. We'll call this a stretch, right? Instead of it being in this direction, it's actually becoming more vertical. And then this 1/3 in blue is, instead of it being here, now it's tending to shrink a little bit. So this is what we would call a shrink, when we have a number in between 0 and 1 outside the parentheses. So a lot of rules here, probably would help to go through. Definitely would help to practice, see what would happen when you put different numbers. Just pay attention to the rules. You know, basically, if you're looking at your standard quadratic function, you're looking at the rules of what is the impact that each of these numbers is having, or maybe you have that number here, impact that it's having on the graph using the rules that we all just went over. So hope this helps. Keep working hard, and the more you fail, the more you succeed.